Schizophrenia is a disorder classified by a variety of symptoms which generally impact an individual's social functioning, such as blunted affect, delusions, and more. Psychoeducation involves teaching clients about the symptoms behind their disorders, which can allow them to better address their symptoms and understand how their disorder works. Psychoeducation is generally delivered in group sessions ranging from an hour to an hour and a half per session, often held on a weekly basis. The number of sessions may vary depending on the populations addressed, but generally appears to be held over the course of 2 months. Regarding schizophrenia and psychoeducation to those with schizophrenia, I looked at 2 studies, one conducted in Finland, one conducted in Japan. The Finland study was conducted with patients who were involuntarily committed to a psychiatric rehabilitation facility because rather than being charged criminally for their actions, they were deemed to be at the mercy of their mental illness. So overall, this study showed that compared to those in the treatment as usual condition, those who received this who received psychoeducation were far more aware of their symptoms than those in the treatment as usual condition. Sorry about that. However, this did not, for the most part, it did not show that a lot of them were more optimistic about their condition. It just meant they knew more about the symptoms. In the Japan study, however, they did see a marked difference from comparing the treatment as usual to the psychoeducation groups. They did see a much greater optimism in those who received the 8-week psychoeducation program. This is probably because, depending on your life circumstances, having knowledge of your condition doesn't always mean you can do something good about it. Like those who are involuntarily committed, yes, knowing their symptoms probably helps a little bit, but they're still in a tough situation which they probably didn't want to be in. And compared this to the members of the Japan study who were just hospitalized psychiatric patients, they still have their life under control. They can still make they can make their own decisions and make strides in changing how they respond to their disorder. However, even within this group, one difference that showed was that those with positive symptoms, that being the symptoms of delusions, hallucinations, things that get added on to the disorders, to their lives because of the disorder, those individuals felt more empowered to change, whereas those with negative symptoms, such as the blunted affect, the lack of empathy, they found it much harder to get motivated because they know what they don't have, but they don't know what to do about that. And so, from these findings, I think the biggest challenge to those implementing psychoeducation would be would be having to recognize that there's not just one possible way that psychoeducation goes. You have to understand that everyone with schizophrenia has a different situation. You can't make generalizations, as is the case with many psychiatric disorders. But above all else, one thing that you still have to do is you have to try and get the client to believe that change is possible. And for different people, getting to believe means accomplishing different things. For those with negative symptoms, it's a lot harder because They have to deal with what they don't have. Those with positive symptoms, they have to deal with what they have. There's no SAMHSA does not, and SAMHSA does not have an official guideline for how psychoeducation is conducted, but there are many guides online you can see which contribute to psychoeducation. And with patients with co-occurring disorders, you can encourage patients to change their habits by showing them this is how your schizophrenia plays into your this is how your substance abuse worsens your schizophrenia.